Everybody, and welcome to Dublin Tech Talks. It's Gavin Fox here. On today's show, we are speaking to CEO and founder of Bynaric, Aria. Ari is an Irish-Iranian entrepreneur who's founded Bynaric, which is an Irish-based social housing management solution that's user-friendly, cloud-based, and always on. They believe it enables a straightforward and stress-free property management system. So we hope you enjoy, and we will speak to you soon. Thank you. So welcome to Dublin Tech Talks, Ari. It's great to meet you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Gavin. Thank you for invitation.
So I saw Bynaric on start of the month in Business Post, which is always really good to see because, you know, when you're in there, things must be going well. So can you tell me a bit more about the business, where the idea came from, what problems you're trying to solve?
Yeah, so the ideas actually came from me being, practical. I've been involved as a consultant to advise on a software application used on one of the housing association providing social housing here in Dublin. So after understanding what they're doing and where they want to get and the problems on the ground, I understood that there's such a fantastic work that they do for the society, pretty much putting people in homes. So I sort of wanted to be part of it. It just sounded really exciting, and they're doing a fantastic job in terms of building homes and finding people that need homes. So I immediately thought I could be a good tech partner. I could really be able to take it to the next level, to be able to provide the tools that they need to be able to do their roles, the role in the society that they have chosen, much better. And hopefully, we could accelerate it with given all these housing crises happening with all these, social housing lists and things like that. It's I think it's such a I suppose responsibility that I could take, and also in terms of to contribute in a different way, sort of indirectly to support this mission. So I began to look at the requirement for existing social housing applications, vendors and suppliers for this market within Ireland, the UK. So I discovered the big market gap and the big potential that exists. After studying carefully the Irish and the UK market. So I decided to just establish Bynaric as a company. So here in Dublin. So that's basically where the journey started.
Brilliant. And you kind of launched at a very interesting time. The kind of, we'll keep going. I can edit it, so there's no problem. So you launched in 2020. Your lights are gone again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's some electrical work happening or something. Yeah.
No problems.
Okay.
So you launched in 2020 on the eve of the biggest business turmoil and turmoil around. How did that kind of make you feel? How did you react as a CEO, as a leader? What was the kind of thoughts there?
Oh God, where do I start? I would like to say that I've had other businesses, other experiences, as an employee, as a business owner in the past. You feel that you could be prepared for things. When you establish a new startup with some past experiences, you're hoping to plan for the known things and prepare for the unknown. And only this time, the unknown is just much bigger.
Yeah.
So, spend half of the first half of 2020 pretty much working from home, and trying to recruit, get the right people, and you're constantly behind Microsoft Teams, and trying to manage things, organize things, and things like that. And then you ask yourself, am I doing enough? And is the team doing enough? Because you're not there, you can't see.
Yeah.
I suppose the big question for me was that, like, how do you build a relationship, with a new team that you got, that even the team members haven't met, in person, remotely.
Hmm.
So, like, I personally like to meet people face to face, shake hands, but I guess I was very, very lucky, to just, get the right people in the team in the first place, who could actually understand the goal and believing in it.
Yeah, it was, you look at the timelines and everything. The biggest struggle, even for my own business, is building up that rapport, building new teams, really getting to know people has been a struggle. And from talking to other business leaders, that is a continued one. But interestingly, and probably a good point, is you are based in Dogpatch, so the kind of the multiple support structures that is Dogpatch must be a great kind of business relief, personal relief. Is that something that you've lent on? Is that a kind of a good positive out of a negative?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Dogpatch Labs, have a great energy, that, we have certainly, been able to use to our advantage, in the past year at least. And, we have been also, able to take advantage of meeting, a few people within Dublin ecosystems through Dogpatch. That has been great. And, even at the minute that people are, starting to return, and, the buzz is, certainly back, so, we are, we are actually growing, and, grown at, to the point, that we are now looking into move into, our own office space, where we can, pull the team together, and, when we are able to all work from the office again.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing for us, to be honest.
So you mentioned just in our chat before, you've grown from what, 1 to 20, 28 and still hiring in the last 12 months. Or what have we now, 14 months. That's an
Yes.
amazing story on its own. It brings its own trials and tribulations, and it brings its, as you mentioned, trying to get that together. But in the market at the moment and how busy it is, it's a real positive news story as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess, again, we have been very lucky, COVID itself has impacted, my business, in fact, a lot, because I couldn't easily go to the conferences, meet people, as, again, I'm a person I like to meet people, shake hands, and, build a personal relationship, even though, I'm a, younger generation, but I feel I'm a little bit old fashioned. So I don't think, talking to someone or people through laptops and all that does, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel the same thing, and it's just very, very difficult to communicate. And, growing the team to this size, through this, just the technology by itself, has been challenging, but yet rewarding, because, by end of the day, we grown to this number, and, we are hoping to grow to be, around 40 people by end of the year. So, it's a positive news. Yes. Could it be better? Yes. Could it be worse? Yes. But, I think we have done, as a team, not only myself, like every individual person in the team, they really contributed to just get to this point.
And no, you mentioned it earlier around, this is your first venture. You have come through that, nothing on your profile would scream tech entrepreneur. It's more the traditional tech background you've come through. How have you found that transition from employee to founder, tech entrepreneur, now to a growth business? How have you found that challenge to yourself, your mindset, and kind of what have you learned?
Well, I guess, like, my LinkedIn profile doesn't really represent me very well. I'm not one of those guys to, big in advertisements, to sell myself. I know that's probably one of, CEO's duty, but I have, you know, but I have been involved, and another startup that was totally non-technology related. So I guess, to just start briefly, like, I suppose when I graduated from the college, it's more than 10 years ago at this stage. Jesus, I feel old now.
I'm on board, don't worry.
So, I started like, doing some sort of like, PLC programming, with, Siemens machines and so on. And for years, then after that, I worked in public sector, and I had to deal with, the austerity, all the budget cuts and things like that. And you still had to just provide the same, service to the users. It was very difficult, but yet achievable, just because technology is a great thing. You could achieve more with less if you know how to employ it.
Yeah.
And obviously, I gained a lot of experience in public sector, and then decided to do my MBA part-time in the evening. And after that, then I felt like I'm really ambitious. So, let me just get into a business, pure business. So I just went and talked to some suppliers here in Ireland in terms of dairy products. So I set up a new company in Africa, in South Africa, in fact, in SADC countries, such as South Africa, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Zambia, and Botswana. It was just totally different experience. So I just stayed with that business for around I think just 3 years. So I was basically a milkman in Africa.
That's a different place to do business, I'd imagine.
Exactly, totally different. And then we were doing actually very, very good. We established a very good distribution channel. We have been listed in all the massive supermarket chains, which in South Africa would be like 220 stores of just Spars and Pick and Pays, and it's a different scales.
Yeah.
And I never forget that I was talking to one of the buyers at the time, and the CEO of, I think, was Super Spar. And I went there and I was just ready to just negotiate in terms of pricing and things like that. They said they're not really interested in pricing. All they're interested in, can you actually supply?
Yeah.
I remember I came back to Ireland. I was just talking to suppliers. We could have not supply even 1 week requirement for their dairy product for all these 220 stores.
Wow. Yeah.
It's such a big quantity that they needed. Anyhow, in terms of understanding the business and what's really involved, I think I gained some experience there. And then after 3 years, we got the money, rand, a currency fluctuation. So the currency just halved overnight, and we were selling obviously in rand, but we were paying our suppliers in euro. So that was a big setback.
That's not a very economic way, anyway. I can tell you, you don't need to go to Stanford for that.
Yeah, exactly. So anyhow, I mean, I suppose before losing any, money over that, and just go to a crisis, decided to just, have the exit strategy and just execute it and just get out. So I came back, got involved with obviously another giant tech provider, Google. Done some work for them for a few years, and that's where I actually learned how to manage big teams and multiple teams and over so many jurisdictions, continents, cultures and things like that, and which I would have been part of it myself. So the story goes that for nearly 2 years I never met my line manager, because he was somewhere in the States. Even I would just travel to the States, he would go to somewhere else, you know. So that was basically, that was basically it. And to start something in a tech, I suppose, just before Bynaric, I was involved in another, sort of supplier, you know, um, sort of reseller type, arrangements, and I was doing good, software application reselling and all that. But I always wanted to be, you know, the person or the company or the people who actually designing these to own the technology, to be understanding, to understand what do people want, what the companies are, needing, rather than being a reseller and, just sell the thing that is already made.
Mm.
Don't get me wrong, I suppose in terms of profitability, it was great, but in terms of, creating something to be proud of, is just you never, you never would be, you're selling Microsoft products. Okay, great. It's not really ours. Like, what am I doing? Do I really feel that am I adding value? For
Yeah.
some people, maybe, but for me, it wasn't. So that's where I really wanted to just to be proud of something, and to start something that it's my idea, it's my legacy, hopefully.
Yeah, and again, just something you briefly touched on it. It does mean more when it's yours as well. It's you put in the long hours, you the sacrifices. It is it's a saying for you. Like, it is means a lot more when it's your business and you can see it starting to flourish. You must be immensely proud when you see growth.
Well, I mean, yes. I feel as a team. Okay, I mean, I own this company 100%. We don't have any, obviously, investor at this moment in time, and nor we're looking for one at this stage. um, but the thing is that I was always say this. I literally get a goosebump when I see 20 plus people are working at something and trying to just achieve this goal,
Yeah,
that they understand they're part of it, and it becomes a team effort. And it's the same goal, and it's just, for me at this moment in time, it's more than just owning it, or more than just making, making a fortune out of it. It's just more about achieving something to be proud of. And the same goal I am really tried hard to communicate to the rest of team, and they, they're on the same page, and that actually makes makes me really be motivated, because by the end of the day, as COVID suggested, and COVID happened. I mean, we couldn't know exactly when such a thing going to happen.
yeah,
So as a business, yes, we try our very best. Everybody is just putting their best effort, but by the end of the day, we don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow, next year, and we just don't know. So I suppose the best effort is being made towards a goal that is not only about owning, or I mean, just sort of measuring it with amount of money or revenue we just generate, but you try your very best. I suppose the money will come in if you're doing the right thing.
yeah. That's something I've always looked at. If you're able to stand over the work you're doing, irrespective of what industry you're in, if you're putting as much effort, your maximum possible effort in, you should be getting rewards. And if you're not getting the rewards, there's something different. Then either you can't do the job, or there's the way you're doing it is wrong, or whatever. But like, it is, it's great to see that your team is rallying and making sure that it gets done. It's brilliant. It's as a leader, you must be delighted that they're obviously believing yourself and your mission and what you're trying to do, which is great.
I am really proud of them, and I always tell them in front of them. We have a monthly, company meeting, and I always say, this is your effort. It's not only mine. It's a collective effort, because if I could do it by myself, I didn't need to hire you guys. I didn't need to call you. So I need you. I
Yeah.
need you to do these, the work that you do, because as a team we could be successful, not as a person. And I think, I really hope that to get to the point that, everybody gets rewarded for all the hard work that they're making, that they're putting into the company.
Yeah, no, it's great. Okay, so one last thing, and I don't want to take up more of your time. I'm guessing with the product and social housing, and that is like government is obviously a major partner for what you're trying to do. You're built in AWS first technology stacks, with the recent cyber attacks and something that's happened, that must give you a bit of comfort that things are pretty okay for your ecosystem. But is that was that a thought process from the start, building cloud first, or is that just how it evolved?
No, I mean, well, we always wanted to provide a SaaS-based application. That's number one. However, the security and, understanding of, how could we, have the data protected, and, and how could we ensure as a company, we are also covered. So how could we just adapt the best practices out there to make sure that our customers, feel safe to move to our platform. So based on that, we followed, we adapted Amazon, AWS, recommendation, what they are looking for, in terms of, all those securities and, SSLs and certificates and all those kind of stuff. We are fully covered. We even, didn't feel to reinvent the wheel in terms of, authentication. So we are using either, Amazon, Microsoft, or Google authentication systems, so that, so that our clients, they feel safe, and also, one sort of authentication systems and services in place. So yeah, no, we definitely designed it in this particular way, and with my background in infrastructure as well, and even though I used to love, be very close to the servers and the physical thing, and quickly, became, obvious that owning the physical thing is just, it's not a way, because you have to maintain it. You have to, be able to guarantee the service, the connectivity, the monitoring, just lots going on in that. So then, as a service provider, it would be very difficult. Let us, as a SaaS-based application provider, provide the application that would run, in somewhere like, AWS, so that they are doing their job fantastic, they're reliable, scalable. We are not an infrastructure company, so we have decided to just move towards, one thing and do one thing, and hopefully, we are doing it right.
Yeah, it's a big advantage for a lot of businesses that have grown the last 4 or 5 years, is been able to do that. I sometimes nearly feel sorry for companies that may have founded about 7-8 years ago, because they just missed the cusp of the wave of being serverless, and scalability is key, and been able to get more with AWS or whatever provider it is. It's great. So last question, I'll let you go after this, I promise.
Sure.
12 months, 18 months in, the business is where it is now. What would be the biggest learning as an entrepreneur now, as a it's going well? What would be your big learning, or what would you want to give to somebody who's maybe sitting at their desk and going, that could be me?
Yeah, I suppose, understand what you want to achieve, figure out that goal. Okay, what is it that you want to achieve? And once you do that, and I suppose planning, as they say, measure twice, cut once.
Yeah.
It's very important, because unfortunately, at least in my situation, I don't particularly coming from a rich background, or I don't have a rich uncle, so that you're on your own. That you have to plan. You have to pay wages. It's okay to be able to bring one or two friends to do some codes for you, or do this and do that. But by the end of the day, if you want to convert it to the business, you need to be reliable, because the potential customers, or especially if you're B2B, it's very difficult to sign up, bigger companies, which that's where your profitability would come in from. And if they don't feel that, you could actually support them. Because
Yeah.
the biggest thing in the industry is that, well, you say that you can provide A, B, and C, but can you also guarantee the support? Can you guarantee the, a proper life cycle of that particular application? Would you go out of business? Or are you going to be stable? So there's a lot of that is going on. So the business itself, the one good idea, it's just a good idea. There are lots of good ideas out there, much better than mine. But the execution of the good idea, and then trying to take it to the maturity and focus on that particular idea and understand it, and always partner up with right people, whether it's through hiring, co-founding, or anything like that. It's very important. And based on my experience, your very first customer, if you're doing any implementation, make sure that customer is right for you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the biggest thing. If you're starting something, most likely you're gonna, you don't have it right from day one. You can't know it all. And your customer, the first customer that you choose, the customer is choosing you too. So then they're probably going to be more resilient towards issues and problems, and they will work with you. So that's a very important. Um, and the very last thing, I suppose, build a culture. If you're planning to build a company, not just provide the idea, build a culture from day one with your people, and be open, direct, and honest with people. I think sometimes we don't give enough credit to one another, and based on that we try to maybe smooth, have things a little bit more digested when we say it. But I suppose when is straight, when is the truth, when is the reality, people can deal with it, and that's their choice.
Yeah, 100%. Honesty wins every day. That's always. Be true to yourself. It's too hard it's too hard. It's too much headaches not to be. But Ari, thanks a million for your time today. It's been a pleasure to get to know you. The business seems to be super and flying along. So best of luck with that, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you very much again. Okay, cheers.
So that was Ari Poor, CEO and founder of Bynaric. Really interesting business. Social housing, such a massive problem. Really clever solution focused on data to solve problems. If you've enjoyed that, please sign up to Dublin Tech Talks on our LinkedIn, YouTube, or on our social channels. Speak to you soon. Thank you.